You know, it's pretty easy to sit here and push blame around in oil country as the Oilers have not started this season the way many of us would have hoped, obviously coming off a third round appearance against the Colorado Avalanche in the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. Many of us would have hoped this Edmonton Oilers team would go to town and just roll over the competition, similar to what the Boston Bruins are doing this year in the NHL. However, that has not been the case, and friends, whether you blame Jack Campbell, whether you blame the defense, whether you blame the depth scoring and the penalty kill, there's plenty of blame to go around. But today, of course, you might have saw some folks talking about Connor McDavid and some certain stats. But in a whole, the Edmonton Oilers are really, well, struggling in a sense to put it together compared to what they did last year. We'll break that down in a matter of moments. But my friends, this is Dolynny TV. Good evening and welcome aboard for another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel today. And let me tell you, I'm excited to do this one, and I hope you'll stick around for as long as you possibly can tonight, because this discussion is going to be excellent. I promise you that. All right, without further ado, we get into the kind of housekeeping notes, and then we'll get through this video as promised. If you're new to the channel, what I want you to do right now, or if you're returning, is leave a like on the video at some point if you're enjoying tonight's topic, discussion, whatever you want to call it. And if you are new, consider hitting that subscribe button here on Dolynny TV, closing in on 10,000 subscribers and now less than 370 away. All right, let's get to it, my friends. What am I talking about? When I say the Edmonton Oilers are struggling in certain categories this year, well, it is prevalent on the 5-on-5. That's one thing a lot of fans who are nuanced into the game and kind of take the game as a whole and then break it down into bits and pieces would often tell you the Edmonton Oilers have not been very strong 5-on-5 this season. Now, obviously, there were a couple of goals last night that are a big factor in that, but unfortunately for the Oilers as a whole this year, it has not been a very solid season. So with that, we'll flip on over to this nifty graphic that, quite honestly, I've had the capability to build. However, I did not realize that when I'm looking at the insane, incredible videos that Patrick over at the Oilers Fanatic puts together, that he was using the same program I am to build his graphics within his video. So I'm going to take a page from his books and simply build this graphic right here. The Oilers in 21-22 versus 22-23. And let's do a little bit of TSN Sportsnet comparison, as we so often see in the broadcasts we watch night in, night out. So what you see in front of you is the team analytics at 5-on-5 for the 21-22 season, and below it the 22-23 season. All right, game on. Well, the one thing you'll see that is vastly different between both teams, the Oilers version last year and the Oilers version this year, is that first column that is S percentage. That is shooting percentage 5-on-5 for the Edmonton Oilers. And as it currently sits for the Oilers at 5-on-5, last season they had a 7.8%. They were a point tick below the league average shooting at 5-on-5. And last year we said the Oilers quite heavily struggled at times 5-on-5. Well, you skip ahead to this year and you look at the season stats so far, what, a couple of 30-some games into the season, and you really look and boil this down, the Oilers have a 7.3 shooting percentage 5-on-5. So it's a 0.5% dip 5-on-5 this year compared to the whole season last year, and that in itself is very concerning for us Oilers fans, because when you talk about the difference of a 0.5% of your shots going in, to make that matter, just technically to make that show up in the shooting column, is, I believe, 200 times 0.5 is 0.05, sorry, 200 times 0.005 is when you get the difference. So every 200 shots, sorry, the goals are going in one less than they were last year for the Edmonton Oilers. That's what it's saying at 5-on-5. Now, you may feel that is not much of a difference for the Edmonton Oilers. However, when you look at that and aggregate that over the course of a season, if you're putting up 32 shots a game and you play 82 games, divide that out by 200, you're talking about the difference of 13 goals 5-on-5 during the course of a season. Now that is 13 goals that could change the course of 13 games throughout the season. The difference in the last 3 games between us winning and losing, right? That's what the difference is here. And when you're talking about 13 goals in the span of 82 games, you're talking about 15 to 16% of your games that could be factored differently based on just simply shooting half a percentage better than you are currently 5-on-5. And that is in itself, when you're talking about 16% of the season, my friends, when you're talking about that, that's quite something in the drastic era of the season. You're talking about like 13 wins as opposed to 6 wins and 7 losses, or even 13 losses, is a big time difference in this team making the playoffs and not making the playoffs this season. So that in itself is one of, if not the most alarming stats you will see right here on this Oilers chart that I have in front of you. Secondary, we go to the PDO, which is the save percentage plus shooting percentage 5-on-5. For the Oilers this season, it's 0.6% lower, which is actually something of a huge thing for the Oilers because, technically speaking, despite having terrible goaltending from Jack Campbell very early on, and Stuart Skinner still being a rookie and not exactly stealing the show as he was early on anymore, we're a point below, 1 point on that save percentage, 921 and 21-22 versus 920 5-on-5 this season. That, I mean, you want to split hairs, that's where you really almost don't notice that difference. But again, I guess that would turn out to be something like, if 0.5 is 13, I guess it would be the difference of 2 goals potentially going in during the course of the season. So keep that in mind right there, my friends. 2 to 3 goals, I guess you could say. And here's the problem, right? This Oilers team struggling 5-on-5. Another key metric of that is possession and quality of possession. Well, you look at this Corsi 4, which is kind of what I would use to measure quality of possession, right? Do the Oilers just possess the puck, or do they get shots on net? Do they direct the puck towards the net? Are they trying to score with possession? Well, in terms of the quality of possession from team to team, last year they had a 52.5% Corsi percentage, and here this year Corsi 4 is at 49.8. That is the Connor McDavid stat that I referenced for you. Simply put, for the Oilers, it is one of those situations where Connor McDavid is not really getting the best luck with the goal share out there at 5-on-5. That's the big news today in Oilers land, the stat that's been talked about. I don't want to dive into that. I'm simply choosing a different topic because I feel I can do better with a different topic. However, right, when you're talking about almost being down 3% in terms of shots for, blocks and misses versus shots and stuff against, that is a big difference in terms of what's going to happen in the game for the Oilers, right? You're talking a 3% swing, positive versus negative. That's a big time get for the Oilers, and so far this season, sitting just about halfway through at 76.3. That should, we move into the goals, expected goals for. You're sitting at 76.3 5-on-5, while we're at a total of 33 games in. 76.3 divided by 33 times 82. You're talking about 189. So we're expected to be down in the goals for, expected goals for percentage column there, and the goals against column as well, 70.8 divided by 33 times 82. I really hope here that I've got this correct. Because I think we're playing 33 games. Yeah, I think so far. But you know what? 175. So we're expected to be down in that column too, which is good, despite having this goaltending horrendously as we do. However, you go into this actual goals for versus actual goals against. The Oilers, not quite the team they were on that paper chart there in the XGF versus XGA, and this year not quite in the XGF XGA light either. 61 goals for so far this year, I believe. Sorry, that I don't know what these stats are. I'm just going to mention them. Sorry, I thought I knew what these stats are, but when you look at the difference there, it's a -15 as opposed to a -1, and I think that ends up factoring in there. Now, the scoring chances for percentage for the Oilers actually better this year. The high danger chances for percentage this year actually better for the Oilers this year. However, they are having an issue converting the high danger chances into goals. This is what the HDC percentage chart means. Simply put, the Oilers were converting that at an almost 14% clip this year. When they get into the danger area right in front of the net, bouncing pucks, trying to put it home, they're only putting that home at a 7.7% clip. So you're talking about being down 6%. That combined with the shooting percentage is exactly where I'm saying these stats are why the Edmonton Oilers are struggling. They aren't doing their best to capitalize on chances when they get them, and they are butchering a bunch of high danger chances, almost 0.5% or half as many as they were last season. So that's a big time problem for the Oilers this season, and that's where we kind of wrap this video up, is when I wanted to summarize it, right? Simply put, the shooting percentage is alarming. When you talk about 13 goals within a season, in a stretch where you've lost 3 in a row, 1 in a shootout, 1 in overtime, and 1 in regulation, all by 1 goal, right? That is technically, you get even 2 goals in that stretch, and 13 divided by 82, whatever that it turns out to be, 82 divided by 13, sorry. Every 6 games you get you get one of those goals that changes the game. That's a big difference for the Edmonton Oilers. And suddenly, right, the difference between, well, you win that Anaheim Ducks game and suddenly away you go. Now, in all of this, the problem is this is all on the offense. This is all on the guys shooting the puck, the forwards more or less, the guys trying to convert chances, opportunities into goals and change the game in the offensive column. None of this excuses the defense nor the goaltending, although the goaltending save percentage 5-on-5 has not been any worse than it was last year, relatively speaking, and the high danger chances against going in the back of our net is actually down from last year so far. So that's the weird part for the Edmonton Oilers so far, is when you look at this here, and it's actually pacing that we'll have less high danger goals against this season, which is the HDGA that you saw there. It's one of those weird things where the Oilers, yes, if they could get out of their own way, stop turning over the puck and start defending better, they would do much better. But the Oilers too, the expectations they've failed us on is this team's got Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, Jesse Puljujarvi, Kyler Yamamoto. You've got, of course, a ton of guys, Dylan Holloway, Klim Kostin, guys in this lineup, Warren Foegele, that are all capable of producing much more offense sizably than they have so far this season. Jesse Puljujarvi, no matter how much you dislike the kid, is not a 2-goal in a half a season player. You can hate him all you want. He is at least a 10-goal a season scorer for the Oilers, and guess what? That equates to 5 goals in the span of 41 games, not 2 in the span of 33. So that's where for the Oilers, you got to really step up and you got to start converting. And I don't know who is in charge of the finishing skills in terms of the coaching staff for the Oilers, but that is one thing. The Oilers lack finish when they put up shots. I mentioned this in the live stream yesterday, something I talked to Patrick with the Oilers Fanatic about while we were at the Anaheim Ducks game, actually. Simply put, the Oilers take a lot of shots, and this could be the problem for them, where all they're looking for is a face-off. They run themselves out there, right? Connor McDavid goes and has a minute 50 shift, has the puck in the offensive zone, knows if he turns it over, it's going in the back of the net, so he takes the shot and just puts it on net for a face-off. Not a bad play, but when the Oilers are upping the goalie's save percentage, upping the goalie's shots against for meaningless shots, because they aren't winning the face-off, especially in that Anaheim game, all you're doing is kind of shooting yourself in the foot, right? Whether you turn it over or you take the face-off and lose the face-off, the other team regains possession as soon as the goalie touches that puck every single time. So for the Oilers, what I'd like to see happen here, and kind of the change within the system and the solution to these problems, is simply put, going to work in front of the net, driving to the net with a goal in mind, right? For the Oilers, I think a lot of it is put the puck on net and see what happens. Now it's got to be, and the solution to these problems is put the puck on net and make something happen, right? That's the difference between those 13 goals now and there's 13 goals then. So that's the problem for the Oilers as I see it right now. 5-on-5, the shooting percentage and the high danger conversion rate not being good enough to win the games the Oilers have needed to win this season. Friends, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. If you're new to the channel, like I said, I hope you've taken the past 5-10 minutes to consider hitting that subscribe button here on the channel. And without further ado, I'm going to head on out of here. This has been a lot of talking. This has been a 15.5-minute video. I hope you enjoyed. I'm up on out of here.